Hey guys, what is up? Tim here, and today I'm going to show you how to 3D motion track with Adobe After Effects, CS5, Boujou, and Cinema 4D. So you don't need those exact programs, but to do the basic functions, I'm just going to show you what to do, and you're going to need those programs for that. And first, we're going to start off by opening up After Effects. You could use Final Cut, but I chose to use After Effects in this situation because it is the one that I'm most familiar with. You're going to go over here to Import File. Then you're going to take your original file that you want to create your 3D motion tracking with. In this case, I just went outside and filmed this little clip here. I'm just going to go to New Composition, OK. And what exactly this clip is me running and then jumping. And you'll see exactly what I'm going to do with that in a second. It'll look really, really cool. But first, we're going to go over here to Composition. We're going to add the composition to the render queue. Then we're going to go over here to Lossless, Format, JPEG Sequence. Click OK. Output 2. We're going to go to New Folder. And then we're going to go New Sick or Sequence. And we're just going to click Save. Then we're just going to click Render. And this should take a second to render. I might cut this out just because it might take a while, but depending on how fast your computer is, it will vary in speeds. Now that's my clip right there. Obviously you just saw it, but it'll actually export 900 frames, which we won't need all of those, so you got to cut those out of your sequence. But it has to render all 900 frames because for some reason that's the minimum. Also, make sure you keep a note of how many frames per second you have up here. Obviously mine is at 30, so you're going to need to keep note of that because other parts of the tutorial I'm going to require you to know how many frames per second you have. Obviously right there's a camera shake, so we're also going to cut that out from the sequence. Now the rendering is speeding up a lot. I have a Intel i7 2.7 gigahertz processor, which is really, really nice, so it renders videos really fast. If you don't have too much of a fast computer, this might take a little longer, but you should be able to get through. So now we're just going to quit After Effects. We don't need to save it, really. And if you really care to look, you have your... actually, I don't think I saved it to the desktop, but if you find your folder, this is the new Seek, and here are the images that we just rendered out. So obviously we're not going to need this because it's just a blank screen, but you're going to want to find the image that it ends at. I'm going to end probably around 250 just because I don't really want the entire clip. If you just scrub through it, you can see some of your past images, but we don't really need that right now. First, we're just going to open up Boujou, which is a French word, and I have no idea what it means. If you can find out what it means in the comments and you just post that, I'll give you a cookie. But for now, it's just going to be called Boujou. And we're just going to import sequence, go to where you saved it. In my case, desktop. We're going to go to New Seek. Click on only the first one. Click Open, and then you're going to find where you want to cut this thing off. So, like I said, I wanted to cut it off at 180. Oh, whoops, 180-ish. But I mean, let's see here. Let's find where our subject is. So let's see, 90 maybe, 120. Okay, so now we found our subject at 120. If we go to 150, we can see he's almost off the screen. Now if we go to 180, whoops, we go to 180, he's totally gone from the screen, and that's where we're going to keep it. And we're going to click Apply, and then Close. And then if we scrub through, we can make sure that we got all of our subject. And we did. And there is me. So yeah, now that we have that done, we can go over here to Track Features and select all frames, click Start, and it will track our features. Now this might take a while, depending on how fast your computer is. Like I said, for me, I don't think it's going to take that long. I'll just stick with you guys for a second. If it takes too long, I'll just cut it out. But if you're hearing me right now, then it shouldn't have taken too long. So my guy should be hopping on screen in a second, and here we go. It will take like I said, it'll take a while, but it's worth it in the end because you will see how cool this effect is. And there I am, and it is rendering out the remaining of the video clip, and we are done with tracking features. It'll just save the track, and we are done with the track, and you can see if we scrub through, it didn't track my body, which is perfect. And then we're gonna go right here, and we're gonna go to camera solve, all frames, and start. And this shouldn't take very long at all, like I said, depending on how fast your processor is. And it should make some points on the screen like so. Now, it did a really good job on this one, and I'm really looking forward to doing this because it actually is going to come out really, really well, especially with all the dots I put on the screen. Pretty much the more dots, the better. It can vary, but... So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go over here to Scene Geometry, and we're going to add a coordinate... we're going to add a hint for Boujou to know exactly where the floor is. So we're going to add a hint right here, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to go to the z-axis, which is the floor, and to tell Boujou where the z-axis is, we need to make a vertical line starting from the end of the floor to the beginning of the floor, and we can just click connect to frame. And then we can also make another one if we wanted to. This isn't really necessary, but it's always good to help out Boujou because it does a much better job. Go over here to this dot over here and go lateral, and that looks nice. And then we're going to make an origin. This is actually you need to do, and we're going to add a new coordinate hint. We're going to go to origin, and we're going to just pick a dot that is directly in the middle. In this case, it's that. And click connect. Make sure your dots all are online, and then you can click update coordinate frame, and you're going to click close. And now you can go into your 3D, and you can see exactly that worked pretty darn well. Didn't work absolutely perfectly, but we can deal with it. It actually worked perfectly now that I think about it. But yeah, Boujou does a pretty good job usually, so that did a pretty nice job. And we can also add a test image, test object. It didn't come out perfectly, obviously, but you can do some rotating and stuff and make it look nice. But as you can see, I'm jumping over the ladybug, and that looks pretty darn cool. But obviously that's not our finished product. What we're going to do now is go into export, and then export camera solve, and then browse. Then you're going to go to the desktop, and you're going to save it as whatever you want. Tut solve. Yeah, whatever. I hate when people call it tuts, but I just did. So we're going to click save, and then make sure you have it set to 100. That is very important. You need to scale scene by 100, and it should finish up. Do not quit or do not exit out of this yet. Make sure this gets to 100 up here. Now that it's done, make sure you just check that it's all done, and we have tut solve right there. And we can just go quit Boujou, lose unsaved changes, and then we can click on tut solve. And Cinema 4D should open up. I have R13, so things might be a little different for you. But for me, if you have all R13, it should be fine. So you're just going to open it up, and Cinema 4D did a great job of importing it. What we're going to do down here is first we are going to add a background. And we're going to go down to here to add a material. We're going to unclick specular, and then we're going to go over here to texture, add a texture, load the image. And the image that we want is the original image that we started with, so that would be IMG underscore 1663 for me. I'm just going to click open. It'll load for a second. And Cinema 4D did a pretty good job with that. We're going to go over here to background and drag it on. And you can see it's not actually perfect with the grid, but it looks really, really good right now. We're in really good shape. We're going to go over here to MoGraph, and we're going to add a MoGraph text object. And obviously it is not perfect because Cinema 4D is not an amazing amazing. If it was, yeah, that'd be pretty incredible if it could just, yeah, you get it. So we can go over here and we can scrub through and see where Cinema 4D has error, or see how so we're going to make that object smaller. Or actually we can just put it down further. Either way. It actually doesn't look very good. But so we can go over to mode text and we can change the size of it. Not exactly sure where exactly that is, because I'm new to R13, so I'm not exactly sure where everything is. So I'll pause the video, and when I figure it out, I'll come back and actually. Yep, there we go. So yeah, that was in a completely different spot in R12, or actually R11. But now we have it, and our guy can jump over the text like that. It's actually really, really cool. And make sure nothing is clipped. But there he is jumping over the text. We can make that over here. You can do just make sure he's not clipping it. And that looks perfect. So obviously you can rotate it however you so choose. I'm going to rotate it like that. And that looks absolutely perfect. Cinema 4D and Boujou did a really great job on this. It doesn't always come out this pretty, so don't be fooled by how awesome Cinema 4D did on this one. We're going to change it to blue just because it matches my sneakers. And it is at blue, and we're going to actually let's put a reflection, I guess. We can if we want to, but you don't really need to do this. You can go over here, add a reflection, and we're going to put it on the text, and that looks pretty nice. And yep, you can also add objects and stuff. I'm not going to just because it's a tutorial, but we're going to change the text to, let's see. What should we change it to? Change it to I Run, because that is a ad campaign by someone. I forgot who it was, but I do like the ads. Let's see here. Change it to. All right, yep. So I Run. I know that's kind of weird, but it just goes with the whole theme of running, if you know what I mean. Because I'm running and then jumping over it. Yeah. All right, you guys get it. So over here we're going to change our font. I have a downloaded font that I always use. It's called Soldier. Let's find it. It's in the S's. Soldier. There is Soldier. And I always use that font, and it works perfectly with this one because there's no capital letters or anything, which is always a good thing. And we're going to go over here to MoGraph Text. I'm going to click copy and then paste by hitting Command V or Command C. Then we can go over here and just delete this part right there. And we're going to go over to this thing right here, rotate the text. And we're going to drag this to, oh, actually, I screwed up. We're actually going to make this, leave that at 20 actually, and then just change the depth of this one to 40. And we are going to drag this so it is in the middle, because we're going to add some fillet caps. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But we can just keyframe it to make it go right back in the center, like where we want it to. And so right now what we're going to do is just add some fillet caps by going over to caps, and then go fillet cap, and then cap, fillet cap. And then we can make it a color, whatever color you really want. I'm going to choose white just because white's probably the easiest color. Actually, we'll use black just because that's easier to distinguish. But all right, so now that we have that, we can drag it over. How does that look? That looks alright. And we can obviously just keyframe through it, or scrub through it actually. Not exactly liking how that's looking. So we can obviously just move it over. Oh, whoops. But once we've already created our second layer of text, we can just hit Command and then just select them both and just move it over a little bit. We're going to rotate it a little bit too. And there we go. Looks pretty darn nice. And we're also going to, okay, so that has a reflection. So you can add a light source if you really wanted to. You're going to have to fiddle around with the lights a little bit because it is kind of hard because your rotation angle is off a little bit. It's not going to be what it usually is in Cinema 4D, but there it is. Since it was a cloudy day and the light source is coming from the right, we'll just keep it over here, and let's see how that renders out. That looks pretty darn nice. It goes with the theme a little bit. Actually, you know, we're going to change this to green just because I think that would look pretty cool. Let's see. And that looks pretty darn cool. And there you go. That is how you do it. So obviously you're not done yet. You're going to obviously just check what it looks like. That looks pretty darn good. And at your highest level of movement, that's when you always want to keyframe it or render the solid clip, so you can just get a general idea of what it's going to look like. That looks almost perfect, and I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Then we're going to go into our render settings up here and change it to 35 mm, and that's usually what I like to put it at. Then just put it at all frames. Put your save as. We'll just put it done. Render, and we'll change the file format to QuickTime Movie, and you can pretty much just change whatever you really want, but for me, I'm just going to leave it how it is. We're going to exit out of that, and we are going to hit the render button because we are done. And obviously you guys know what a render looks like. Well, I hope so anyway. And you could just scrub through and see what your computer is doing, but that's pretty much it. Just wait for it to render. Obviously, this could take days, this could take hours, this could take minutes, depending on, like I said before, how fast your processor is. And that's why a lot of people like fast processors if they're designers, because this is called rendering, and it's probably the most CPU intensive act that your computer could do. Probably, yeah, that's probably what it is. And as you can hear probably now, my computer fan's going on. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for today, guys. This is kind of more of a podcast kind of type tutorial because I'm just kind of rambling on. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, because I know I didn't explain everything perfectly, I just kind of assumed that you were had some previous knowledge. But if you have any kind of questions, anything, even very, very, very basic questions, like how do I add text, or what is MoGraph text, or how do I adjust it, or how do I rotate the text, because that's kind of confusing, or what is a z-axis in Boujou, like how do I find points for that? Please leave your comments in the description below. I am very, very happy to help. I can pretty much answer any question you have as long as it's not too complicated. But yeah, I'm pretty experienced in Cinema 4D and Boujou. Actually, not really much Boujou, but After Effects and Cinema 4D. If you have any questions whatsoever, doesn't even have to be pertaining to this, just any questions. I'll try to either make a tutorial about it, or I'll try to just answer it in the questions below, or I'll even send you a personal message. But that's pretty much it for today, guys. My render is almost finishing up, and once your render is done, obviously it's ready to upload. If you followed my instructions perfectly or clearly, you will be good to go, and this will look just as good as mine looks. I'm going to be doing a lot of motion tracking in the future, so this helped me out when I watched the tutorial at first, or I got this idea from a different person, but I changed a couple of things around to make it absolutely perfect and fits my needs. If you need to suit your needs, you can switch things around. Obviously, does not need to be a cookie cutter tutorial, but yeah. So I'll leave the description to his link in the description, obviously, and you can view that video. And here it is, my final product. And obviously we just cut out the beginning. There it is. And obviously it was just rendering out the beginning, but I would just cut out the little camera shake because it obviously doesn't look very good. But I don't know why it's going in slow motion, but that's just my computer being laggy. But obviously you can see that looks pretty cool, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. Like I said, this has been a 20-minute and 25-second tutorial, so if you stuck around for this long, please let me know, and thanks a lot for watching, guys.